Hi, this is Tim with Integrity Home Experts, and I'm going to talk a little bit today about is now a good time to buy a house? Now, that the obvious answer right now, everybody is saying no. Prices are high, interest rates have gone up, but a lot of times there's other factors that you may not have thought about. So we've got some factors here that I'm going to talk about today that might affect whether now is a good time for you to buy a house, because everybody's different. Everybody has a different financial situation, and I'm going to kind of go into these and show you that maybe now is a good time, or at least it's better than what you thought. This might be a better time than what you thought it was to buy a house. Now, I also want to congratulate you for taking the time to learn this, because it's definitely going to put you ahead of other renters, first-time home buyers. So the first thing we're going to take a look at here is the FHA VA window. What is that? That's a term that you're starting to hear, and what it means is, in the past, in a seller's market that we have had for the last several years, sellers would not accept FHA and VA loans. Now, either they totally excluded them in the listing contract. In the listing contract, you check boxes and say, what kind of financing am I going to allow? Conventional, FHA, VA, cash, other. And they just wouldn't check the FHA, VA box. So you couldn't make an offer with an FHA, VA loan. Well, now with higher inventory, higher days on market, we've turned into a bit more of a buyer's market. And so they are willing to take FHA, VA loans, or take a look at them a little more seriously, right? You're going to have a lot less people now checking those boxes that they will take an FHA, VA loan. So what does that mean for you? An FHA loan, an FHA loan has a minimum down payment of 3.5%. Okay, so let's just say a $400,000 house in Denver. That's a $14,000 down payment. Now you'll have some other closing costs in there, but that down payment is only $14,000. Well, that's a lot better than, say, a 20% down payment, $80,000. So now, if they're willing to take an FHA loan, you can come in with $14,000. Now, guess what? Even better, you can get that as a gift from your family. Let's say your family wants to help you buy a house. You can borrow that money, $14,000, from family members. They write a gift letter saying, hey, this money does not have to be repaid, and you can use that as your down payment. Now, also in Colorado, we do have down payment assistance programs. So there are some programs that we can get you into that'll reduce this even more if you qualify. So a VA loan, VA loans, even better, 0% down payment, no down payment. So you have to be a veteran or a surviving spouse of a veteran to qualify for that. But if you are, let's talk about a VA loan, because that's even less. So that's very exciting. This FHA VA window has now opened up. Is it going to stay open? Don't know. If we come back to a seller's market, sellers may not take FHA VA loans anymore. If we stay in this market, it's a great time to get in with a lower down payment. One thing about an FHA loan, you do, and this is a good thing for you, you have to live in that house for a year. So you're eliminating a lot of the investors that don't want to live in the house. They're just buying it as a rental. So this does have the qualification of being in the house for a year. Investors can't use that to buy investment properties. So the next thing, interest rate buy downs. What I mean by that is we can, since we're in this environment, we can use concessions from the seller to buy down our interest rate. How does that work? We're going to, when we write the offer, we're going to say, hey, we want $10,000 in concessions. Those concessions can be used for to reduce your closing cost and prepaid items, or to buy down your interest rate. One of the techniques right now that you're starting to see are two-one buy downs. What does that mean? Let's say the current interest rate is 6.5%. A 2-1 buy down that we're going to get through the seller concession is going to allow us to reduce the interest rate in the first year by 2%. So if it was a 6.5% loan the first year, we're only going to pay 4.5%. The second year, you're going to pay 1% less, so 5.5%. So for the first 2 years, you're going to be paying less than the market rate for interest. After the third year, or after the second year, you're going to be paying the full 6.5%. So let's say the market, the interest rates come down in 3 years, 4 years. We can do a refi to capture those lower rates. And FHA has what they call the streamline refi. You can just do a quick refi. As long as your payments are current, you can just do a quick refi into those lower rates. They make it real easy to do that. So that's a great technique right now to get in while the down payment is a lot less. The other thing you can do with that concession is just do a straight interest rate buy down. You can just say, hey, I want to take, your lender will say, hey, for 1% of the loan, $4,000, you can buy this much of the interest rate down. It might be a quarter point, might be an eighth of a point. We just have to check with the lender. So you take this concession and buy down the interest rate as much as you can. So we would take a look at how much that would lower your cost. But that's a great technique now to get that concession out of the seller. In the past, multiple offers, cash offers, they're not going to take any concessions. No way. Right now, sellers are looking at taking concessions, at giving concessions, because they're sitting on the market a lot longer. So let's take advantage of that if we can. Okay, so we have interest rate buy downs, and then if we just, you don't have to use the concession to buy down your interest rate. You can, but you can just use that to reduce your closing cost prepaid items. What are those? Your closing costs are the lender costs, loan origination fees. These are your closing costs to get into the property. Prepaid items, appraisal, prepay your taxes, insurance. These are prepaid items. We can use this concession to pay down those closing costs. We can also use that concession to do a combination. We can pay down the closing costs and a bit of the interest rate. So you can use those depending on the concession, how much you can buy down the interest rate and reduce your out-of-pocket costs when you're going into the property. So we've reduced our down payment amount, hopefully. We can also use these concessions to reduce our money out of pocket, closing costs, prepaid, or interest rate. So that's great. So higher inventory, higher days on market. What that means right now, again, take advantage of the market before it turns around. Take advantage of this market while the interest rates are a little bit higher. I know that's painful. I know it's painful to hear that. It seems a bit counterintuitive. But this is actually when certain people need to get into the market. They were priced out of the market. They were not be able to make competitive offers. You know, when there was 20 offers on a property, it was almost impossible to get an offer accepted. Right now, you have a much better chance of getting that offer accepted. Now, you also want to think, hey, in a few years, hopefully interest rates will come back down and you can do a refi to get back into the lower interest rates. So that's what we're kind of wanting you to think about. Not just the interest rate, but the whole environment of the market right now. Potentially, this is a good time for you. So what do you need to do? Right now, give me a call, 15-minute discovery call. What we really need to do is get started on this road. Start talking to a lender, get you pre-qualified. Because possibly your credit score could be raised. The higher your credit score, the better the interest rate you'll get. So we need to get working on helping you get that credit score up. We need to help you get this down payment money together. We can work with you, help you get that, maybe talk to some relatives to get that, that gift for the down payment. So the earlier you do this, the better. Sometimes it takes a couple months, a few months, but you want to get started right now, because when this market comes back to a seller's market, then you're going to be like, oh, interest rates are low, but I can't get into the house. There's no inventory. They're not taking FHA loans anymore, and I really needed that. I don't have $100,000 for a down payment. So I think it's critical right now, if you're in a certain situation, let's start working on it. Give me that 15 minutes, no obligation, and we'll look at your situation. There's other loan products available too. If you have non-W-2 income, we have products for that. So we can take a look at your situation, get you started now, so that we can take advantage of this market right now. Thanks.